Hello there, this is DustMouret, and once again I'm going to be bringing you another CSGO tip video. Now the video I'll be bringing you now is going to be a grenade video, mostly just a grenade guide on the cache, as well as maybe some basic concepts of strategy on this map. This is the new version of cache that was released by FM Pwn, who was working in collaboration with Volcano. Of course, Volcano originally released cache on Counter-Strike Source a while back, and it looked a lot different than this one. This is just a more aesthetically pleasing remake of cache, with some also minor changes in the way that it's set up for competitive play. Overall, I think it's a great map. I think it was a pretty good redo, and I think it kept all the things that were great about cache, but then also was able to make it look better to the eye, as well as add some different competitive elements to it. Now, I'm not sure if this map will be used in matchmaking or league play, or when that will be if it does, but I decided to make this video in lieu of any use of this map in competitive play or matchmaking or anything like that, so hopefully this will be helpful to you. Now, I do have a video already out for the classic version of cache, or the one that came out before this one, the original version, as well, in case that one is used in your league or something like that, so you can check that out. I'm going to start on T side, and I'm going to start with A, and then I'll talk about mid and then B. So starting off with A, coming from T-spawn, there's three ways to hit it. You can either go mid to connector to A, which is a little bit more difficult. You have to get mid control to do that. Then you can also come up the main route here into the lobby and attack the site this way. And then also from T-spawn, you can work your way through this squeaky hallway and out the door and into the site, like this. Also, once you decide how you want to split A, there's also different ways that you can approach attacking it. You can either block off this area and attack the site directly like this, which the default plant spot is generally in this area here, or you can decide to block this area off and then wrap around this way and attack the bomb site that way. And there's all kinds of different variations on how many numbers you would want to send this main lobby area or this squeaky door area, and there's also variations where you might want to control middle and then work your way up to the A connector, and then also have some type of number squeaky har A lobby. So I'm going to show you a few different smokes that you can use depending on what situation you find yourself in and what you would actually like to accomplish. So the first part I'll talk about is smoking off CT spawn. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. One way would be to get on top of this box that I'm standing on right now. Aim your crosshair at this second line on the wall here. It's basically straight ahead of you when you get on the box. And then you're going to want to aim at the height of this antenna here. So basically at the top of that. So I'm just going to work my way up and aim like so. As you can see, this does block off CT spawn from having vision of players coming in through the main entryway of A. Now he can come up to here and see you once you start entering the site, so that's not completely blocked off. Also, this smoke actually does happen to block off players coming at connector from being able to see this side of the site, but of course he can still see you cross through this main area. So that is one way that you can smoke off CT spawn for either way you decide that the site, whether you decide to go this route or this route, that can help you. Now another smoke that you can throw for CT spawn that goes a little bit deeper than that may be a little bit more helpful, is going to be thrown from here on this thicker white line outside the main A lobby. Essentially, you just line up on the line and you just go straight ahead, and then you go up basically to the same exact height, the top of that antenna, and just toss it like so. As you can see, like I said, it lands a bit deeper into CT spawn. It pretty much completely blocks them off from getting vision unless they decide to press through the smoke or walk around the edge of it or something like that. You don't have the added benefit of blocking off this connector player, but that's something else that you can work on doing a different way later on if you like. But those are just two different ways you can smoke off CT spawn when working A. Now, the other decision that comes in is what else you'd like to smoke in the site, depending on how you want to hit it. You know, blocking this off would certainly help you hit the main site where you plant the bomb, or smoking this side would certainly help you wrap around the other side or work some type of split. So it's just really up to you and how you would like to do that. And I'll show you basically both options that I know of. So the first option will be to throw it from outside yet again, like I've thrown the CT spawn smokes. You're going to line up on this skinnier white line instead of the thicker one. And you're going to aim at the fourth line on the wall, which is this one, if you count from the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right here. And yet again, just like the other smokes, you're going to aim at the height of the top of that antenna. So basically like this. As you can see, it bounces right there, and it blocks off anybody from inside the site, the quad box area, or this corner from being able to view anything going on inside the entryway to the bomb site. It basically forces them to either push a smoke, sit back and wait, or rotate around this direction, which is where the majority of your team may be hitting from if you decide to wrap around the site. And so basically you're just going to get a head-on fight with that player. So it's just totally up to you. Now you also have the option of blocking off the other direction, which would basically mean that you're going to be in this main A lobby area, and you're going to aim at the center here of this tarp. You're going to throw it on the run. So I'm going to run a few steps and then toss it, like so. What that does is it blocks off CT spawn and connector from being able to spot you while you're running into the A site. As you can see, CT spawn has no idea, and neither does this connector player unless they push up on the balcony or press through the smoke. So this allows you to really hone in on this player and the side area as you're working your way in. And then from there, you can begin to start thinking about smoking off middle connector and stuff like that. You can use these two smokes I've just shown you in tandem with a deeper CT spawn smoke like I showed you to also help support you whenever you want to cross into here and get the bomb down without being spotted by a CT spawn player. Of course, you already have the sight boxes to kind of help out from connector players and even balcony players in some instances. So those smokes should help you out. Some other stuff that you can do that kind of does something similar is a player from here, from Squeaky Door, can also kind of pop a smoke like that, which will block off connector from spotting him as he decides to work his way out and attack forklift or work his way into the site. So that's something else to think about. Also, I know that you can come up here and work the site this way, even though it's kind of risky because you might get spotted over the smoke by a CT spawn operator or someone playing connector or balcony, but it's still something else you can do. And of course, there are things you can throw like mollies to force players out of that quad area or that corner area, as well as flash grenades that go over the site and stuff like that. So it just depends on how you want to attack it. But hopefully these smoke grenades, as well as some of the ideas I provided, might help you work some type of strategy on the A bomb site, just depending on what your preference is. And of course it also depends on how CTs are playing it. You know, if they're playing more passive and CT spawn than opera, not really playing up close in the site, you're going to have a much easier time as compared to maybe two riflers playing a crossfire up close. So you just have to kind of feel out your opponent, but hopefully these smokes will help you however you like. And of course there's simpler smokes you can just throw on the fly at connector and stuff like that as well. So I guess the general consensus is it's just as smart to block off CT spawn and connector as best as you can while you're attacking A, as well as maybe blocking this side off if you're trying to wrap around the site. So next I'm going to talk about mid and about trying to get mid control. And it is, you know, slightly difficult, but I'm just going to try to give you a couple of general ideas, starting out with some smoke grenades you can throw at mid. The first one I'm going to throw is going to be a smoke that's on the run, and starts out by being up against this blue container. You're going to hold forward and your right strafe key, so for me that's W and D, and you're going to kind of run up against it. And you're going to aim your crosshair at this white patch in the clouds here. I don't know if you can really see that. I'm just going to kind of stand still for a moment in case the motion blur kind of makes it hard to see. But basically there's a white spot that you can clearly define if you're playing this map that's right here in the clouds. And basically you're just going to aim at that while you run up against the box and run a few steps and then throw the smoke. So like this. What that does is it bounces right here in front of that CT doorway, and it prevents any passive player like opping or something like that from being able to really see anything at mid without having to press out the smoke. So that smoke can definitely be useful for middle control. Another smoke that's going to be useful for middle control is basically smoking off left side mid. What I mean by that is you can get up against this wall like I am right now and aim like in the middle of that doorway up against this window pane like so, and pop a smoke like that. That smoke by itself will smoke off mid. The problem is that you have these gaps here on this side as well as this side. Now this gap might be covered by that other smoke that I just showed you, But basically, if you're trying to work up mid, this guy can totally still see you running out the doorway and crossing in. So, if they are playing a bit more passive, then there is a better way to smoke off mid in my opinion, which is just using two of them to smoke off each side. So the first smoke that I'll show you smokes off the right side. So basically you just kind of stand right outside the main garage. You're going to aim at the middle of this wall, and you're just going to aim about, say, an inch above the roof, something like this. Just right above the roof, basically, about an inch or so. And as you can see, that's going to smoke off that right side. Maybe you want to throw it a little bit further, but that pretty much blocks off the right side. And the other smoke blocks off the left side. You can basically get up against this wall like I did before, and basically you either aim at this corner or maybe slightly to the left of it. I mean, this little rectangle here pretty much tells you what the doorway looks like. And you're basically just aiming at this height to make sure that it arcs its way through the doorway. So I would say something like this is going to be a lot more tight of a left side mid smoke. So something like that. Then I'll throw this other smoke again to try to illustrate how it covers all of mid. So as you can see, this blocks off mid completely from anybody playing passive. Can't really see anything at all until you actually jump up into the events, and this guy still might be able to spot you. But with those smokes, you can use flashes and nades and even Molotovs over this boost area to kind of try to eliminate that box player, or at least force them back so you can try to take vents. So that's something to think about. Of course, boosting players up to this area is something you can do that also helps you get control of mid. You're splitting this boost spot as well as the main garage doorway. Seen a lot of people do that with ops and stuff like that to try to work picks. So that's also something to definitely think about. And basically, once you get control of mid, it's just up to you what you want to do with it. You can use, let's see here, basically pop flashes that are thrown at the same spot as what I threw before. Let me see if I can get one out. Something like that. And it pretty much pops as soon as it comes out the door, so that may help if they're being aggressive to try to blind them a little bit. Basically, like I said, once you get control of mid, you can either work vents to B, you can slowly try to work your way up towards CT spawn and hit the A connector, or work your way actually into the spawn and try to disrupt rotations. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with mid, and once again, it just boils down to what is the other team doing, what is your team comfortable with, and what are you actually trying to accomplish once you get yourself into mid. So next is going to be B. Basically, to attack B, it's going to revolve around either having a really strong hit with good numbers at the main B lobby area, maybe even splitting the checkers and the main doorway just from B lobby, or like I was talking about before, you might possibly want to work vents to B with a good split vents and the main B lobby. It's just up to you and what you think works best given the situation that you find yourself in. So some smokes I'll show you here that'll be helpful will be smokes that block off CT spawn. Basically what I do to block off CT spawn is on the run, I'm going to aim my crosshair at the height of this light bulb above this doorway, but then on this middle bar like you see. I'm just going to run a few steps and toss it. Something like that. As you can see, that's going to block off that CT doorway, so anybody passive with an op or something like that, CT spawn is going to be blocked off, as well as any rotators that are quick rotating while you're hitting the site. So that way you can have more of an emphasis, on actually worrying about people inside the B-bomb site or inside the checkers hall when you're attacking. Also, you can smoke off heaven, this area right here. I feel like heaven might be more of a viable rotation spot since it's a lot easier to get up here and get down rather than having a ladder. So it may be useful to actually smoke out the heaven area. I don't really have a consistent one that I've thrown yet, so maybe I should have waited to make this video until I found one that I liked. But I can tell you what I typically do, which is kind of aim at the top right hand corner of this doorway that's right here. And I'm going to aim at the height of this bar here where it begins to transition from this, I guess, wood material into sheet metal or whatever that is. So basically just like this, like that, and just run a few steps and toss it. Something like that. And basically this will block out the heaven doorway from being able to see inside the site, so that could be also a useful smoke for you to use. Some other smokes that I can tell you about that can be useful is I know a lot of players will play this spot here. It's kind of like a headshot angle where they spot that doorway, and so that's something to worry about. Of course, people also playing behind the various boxes inside the site, and of course checkers hallway. I know some people just pop flashes through this window like that to try to blind people inside the site, but of course if they hear the glass break they can typically react to it. But I mean, you can still stream flashes through here, and that may be helpful on B takes and stuff like that. Also, even grenades and Molotovs could be useful through the window. I will tell you that one of the more useful things I've found to do to help out is once the glass is broken, if you just hide in this corner where I'm at, you can basically toss smokes. I use this line right here. You have this line to the left, this line to the right. I just kind of aim like right at the top of it, something like this. And that smoke is basically going to block this guy off from seeing the doorway, and forces him to basically get inside the site or just play like kind of passively here by the generator. So it's just, of course you can't eliminate everything with smokes, you have to check some stuff on your own, but that might be helpful. You can also even throw a Molotov kind of the exact same way, something like this, maybe a little bit more to the right. And this Molotov will actually make them take damage if they're standing back here if you throw it far enough. Mess it up just a little bit. Give it another whirl. Still kind of working on the Molotov. It's just something I thought about doing. I've seen it used before in the older version of Cache. Yeah, so there you go. See how that fire is getting there. Definitely going to damage somebody and force them out. So that's something to think about doing. You can also stream flashes and HE grenades the same exact way and possibly do some damage from that same exact spot I was showing you. So that's just something to think about. So basically, to sum up what I've done so far is I've shown you some smokes and different things that you can do with A to work different splits through the squeaky hallway as well as the main A lobby. Then I've also shown you smokes and grenades you can kind of throw at mid to try to gain some type of mid control, and then from there maybe work a B split through the vents, work the CT spawn, or work an A split through the connector. And then I've also shown some different smokes and grenades you can actually throw to block off the different B doorways, as well as take care of some common spots that players hide at inside the B bomb site. Basically, these are all just general things. It ultimately comes down to A, what do you want to accomplish with whatever take you're trying to do? B, what adjustments are you going to have to make based on what happens in the middle of the round when people are getting traded and picked off, or you notice a certain pattern in the way the team is playing the CT side that you can use to try to exploit them. And so it just comes down to those two things really, but hopefully these smokes will help you whenever you do decide to hit a certain site, or if you do have a set rush that you'd like to accomplish, using those smokes to block off early rotations as you try to execute one of the sites. So hopefully that was helpful. Like I said, I do like this version of Cache. Like I said, I do have another video out that also has the grenades and stuff for the classic version of Cache that came out before this version, as well as some other tip videos for all the other competitive maps, as well as matchmaking maps that might be helpful for you as well. So definitely just check out the rest of the videos on this YouTube channel. I have a whole playlist dedicated just to CSGO tips. I think that'll about wrap it up for this one. I could talk a little bit about CT side, but essentially that's just up to you. There's lots of different ways you can play it, whether you want to be passive at mid with an opper, or just give it up completely, or whether you want to play aggressive mid with 2 to 3 players pressing up on this doorway, which basically would just entail you smoking off the doorway, using grenades to make your way out, and just try to hold off aggression at mid the best you can. Maybe even work your way into the vent and watch mid from the vent. Maybe even boost players up here yourself, or just whatever. And then when it comes to A, it's just all about working with your teammates in communication to determine what is best based on what they're doing, whether you want to play this angle to watch squeaky door, whether you want to play here with an op to try to pick the main, or play passive truck, or have one connector. You know, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. And same with B. You know, if they're not, you know, abusing you while you're at this spot, it's a pretty good spot, as well as just playing inside the site, or maybe even being aggressive in the checkers hallway, or op picking with an op in this doorway. All kinds of stuff you can do on CT side. I don't want to harp too much on it. I just wanted to give some general concepts and ideas that might help you out on this map. And like I said, I've tried to do the same with all the other maps that I know of. So definitely check that stuff out. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do, definitely follow up on the YouTube. and check out all the other YouTube videos like I've said, and you can also check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Just search DustMouret, the same name as my YouTube username on Facebook and Twitter, as I'll always be posting about things that are going on.